What has upset Lenny this time? Lenny Henry has said his ITV series, Three Little Birds, is one of many black dramas getting axed. So he's alluding to the fact it's black drama, so there must be sort of like a racial connotation why it's getting axed. It's getting axed for the simple reason, and I'll quote what ITV said, it wanted to commission another series but explained that the audience didn't come to the drama in the numbers they'd hoped for. So basically it's a commercial reason. Just look at Netflix. If anybody watches Netflix, the amount of series what have had 1, 2, then just that's it, they get shelved. Even one series to get shelved. And in some cases there might be just a handful of episodes and they just shelve it. It's all to do with audience figures and it's commercial reasons. Advertisement, end of the day. If people don't want to switch on to that, they don't want to switch on to it. Many shows are commissioned by ITV, for example, and they rely on audience figures. So that's the simple reason why it's been cancelled. It's got nothing to do with the narrative of being a black drama. The reason I didn't like the headline is because it says black drama. Do you know what I mean? There's been plenty of other dramas or TV shows what get cancelled for whatever particular reason, but they never reference them as white dramas as such. So this black drama thing, what's been pushed in the news in the last 24 hours, does have that bit of connotation of a bit of a racial element, which I find very unsavoury. Whatever newspaper you want to read, the Daily Mirror, it just seems that the BBC, Daily Mirror, Guardian are sort of pushing this black drama thing. It's almost, again, they're alluding to the fact it's a black drama, it's been cancelled. And I repeat myself again, it was cancelled purely on the fact it was not getting the viewing figures that they expected. And this has been replicated throughout the TV industry. And again, whether it's Netflix, whether it's live streaming, or whether it's TV licensed stuff, you know, the BBC, or like I said, ITV, which is relying on advertisement revenue. Yeah, I've never been a big fan of Lenny Henry, even when he was young, when he used to be on Tiswas. I just never found him funny, and that's got nothing to do with the colour of his skin whatsoever. I just didn't find him funny. Obviously did the famous, now infamous Chinese character, which is widely circulated every time there's a story about Lenny Henry on social media. Obviously then he played David Bellamy, and controversial or not, I don't know. I think in today's eyes that would be if a white person was to play a black person of David Bellamy's status. But like I said, a lot of things that he did in his past, and especially, you know, the two items I've mentioned, especially the Chinese one, it's never been held up for it. He's never been held up accountable for that. It's almost that he's all right, he gets away with it. But if that had been reverse roles, I believe me, the person playing, if it had been a white person doing that, he'd have had to make an apology, like a lot of people did in the wake of the Black Lives Matter movement in this country. One thing I did find really funny when Lenny Henry complained about Broadchurch and Midsummer Murders, that they were too white, and ironically he actually joined the TV series Broadchurch in its third series. I just found that really funny, you know what I mean? It's such an hypocrite. But like he said, it's a lot of these TV shows, these are of a time past, and this is not going years ago, this is only like 10 years ago. A lot of these particular shows, you just won't see him anymore because of the diversity in the casting, like you would nowadays. But it seems like he says he wants to eat his cake and eat it. He always wants it to be over-promoted. Like he said, you just have to look at some of the TV adverts you see nowadays, or the TV shows if you still watch television. As people are well aware, black people are well over-promoted in TV adverts and many TV shows. Again, that's never really remarked upon. It's never criticised. It's all part of this sort of diversity challenge what a lot of these companies are going through, you know, like ITV, BBC, to hire more non-white people, you know, working behind the cameras as well as in the front. Like Lenny Henry once said in the past about he was surprised by the lack of black and Asian faces at Glastonbury. It seems to be like an annual thing now every time Glastonbury is on, and it's not my cup of tea, to be honest with you. There's always a question of the white crowd, for example, and the predominantly white artists, and they are changing that. They are trying to change that. A quite infamous event, again, it was about 3-4 years ago, when Sir Lenny Henry, proud comic relief, will stop sending white celebrities or white saviours to, was what they were saying at the time, to Africa after Stacey Dooley backlash. So again, wanting the cake and wanting to eat it. Lenny Henry has been quoted as saying is that the BBC, the TV industry on the whole, is still too white in this country. He's got problems with the BAFTAs. If not enough black people win at the BAFTAs, for example, it's a sign of racism. And, you know, there's still this endemic racism in this country when it comes to nominating black people for the BAFTAs or winning awards. And it goes on from there. So it's just like he said, if he doesn't get his own way, or something doesn't go his particular way, it's always got something to do with race. It's got nothing to do with talent. It's got nothing to do with that people don't particularly like that show, or people voted for somebody else. It's always got to do because of his colour, his sort of like obsession with this blackness, in the sense that it feels like he's being pushed down all the time, which is the exact opposite. Lenny Henry has had a very, very successful career in the TV industry in this country, same with a lot of other black people and non-white people. And I think more than ever, if you're a non-white person, your chances at being successful in this country in mainstream television are probably a lot higher than they ever have been.
Diversity is a problem for all of us. You know, Shakespeare said we've got to hold a mirror up to society. Well, at the moment, BAMEs, blacks, Asians, minorities, ethnics, others, are 14.3% of the population. And when they watch TV or when they go to make a TV programme, they are hugely unrepresented, and that needs to change.
I think for a lot of people, what pisses them off about Lenny Henry is when he's sort of got this fame and fortune, got his knighthood, then he started coming out with this sort of race-baiting rhetoric. Instead of sort of being grateful, without sort of kowtowing, but being a little bit grateful for what he's achieved, his fame, his fortune, his status in his country. He's just, like he said, he continuously wants to bite the hand that feeds him, basically. I think for a lot of people, they do get offended by what he says. You can take some of it with a pinch of salt. But the thing I find quite disturbing, what annoys me personally, is how the media jumps all over it, but puts a bit of a slant on it, puts a shine on it, so to speak, as though because Lenny's speaking, you know, these words of wisdom. It's Lenny Henry. You know, we can't criticise this man. We can't call him out for some of the stuff he said in recent years, or going back a lot further. You know, that's it, because he's Lenny Henry. He seems to be fenced in, so to speak. So you can't say anything negative about him. And you know, draw your own conclusions on that. So yeah, that's a little story from Lenny Henry. Touched on a few little things what he said over years. Not a big fan of his, and anyway, I'll leave it at that. So thanks for your continued support. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not already. If you want to make a donation, you can do via the Ko-fi link. It will be much appreciated. And catch you all later. God bless.